The first one I'd like to go through is listed as A in your agenda. There's a training letter to the chief, and Mr. Baker, I believe you actually wrote that for us. I don't know that we got a, did we get a copy of it? Sorry, we do have public comment, so we're going to back up for a moment. I didn't have it in my hand until just now. Dr. Kass, please.
Good evening. I'm Bill Kass, and I've talked to you before. And I'm going to repeat some remarks that my wife and I made at the City Council meeting on Monday night, and it has to do with APD policy. And I'll shorten this up because we took both of us our 2 minutes to get through this, so I'll try to do this, and I hope you'll bear with me. Albuquerque City Government, which employs APD, is responsible for creating and setting public policy, including policy that guides the police. Public policy necessarily must include public input and consent, remembering that a basic tenet of democracy is consent of the governed. When the term police policy is used instead of public policy, it disconnects both the concept and the process of policy making from the public and relegates it to the world of policing. Effective policing, like democracy, requires the consent of the governed. It is often seen as though some of the police have lost sight of this. Without public trust, confidence, and respect, policing becomes impossible, and as we've seen, it can be violent, which is why the DOJ settlement agreement exists. And the example that we used is the reverse sting operation, which has made a lot of press in the Albuquerque Journal, and it's gone further than that. But it essentially targets the homeless, and I think there's no one who's heard of this that's really approved of the idea, except for perhaps the mayor and the chief of police. And I think that is the essence of the problem. In fact, the mayor was quoted in the Albuquerque Journal a week or so ago. "This wasn't a tactical plan that came out of the mayor's office," he said. "We rely on our public safety professionals to go out and use their experience and judgment to keep our communities safe. Somebody in the police department thought it was a good idea to do that." Well, I think that, first of all, public policy, which applies to police, should not be written by the police department. They can write the SOPs and they can make the practices, but they cannot write the policy. And I think the policy writing should be in control of the public. That means that the committee that is in charge of public policy has to be controlled by a member of the public, not a member of the police department. So that's my whole point. And I think the ordinance that established this committee said half your job is to do public policy or police policy, and yet all you can do is recommend to the chief. The chief has no obligation to accept what you recommend, only to respond in writing why he doesn't have to recommend it. That can easily be changed. The recommendations that you make could go to the mayor, and the mayor could hold the police chief accountable. But it's pretty clear that that's not what's wanted. So I don't know if I'm out of time, but that's my point, and so I would like to end with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kass. Is there any other public comment?